Everyone, welcome back to Childhood Cancer Awareness Month here on Kitty Vision UK. I'm Kitty, and today I'm excited to introduce Katie, another awesome retinoblastoma survivor. She's here to share her inspiring story, so let's jump right in.
Hi, I'm Katie and I'm 20. I'm a medical student at university. And I was diagnosed with retinoblastoma in my right eye when I was 8, which is quite late for being diagnosed with retinoblastoma, really. And we found out I had it because one day I just came upstairs to look for a game, as 8-year-olds do, and suddenly I blinked and there was this red floater floating around in my eye, a bit like when you look at the sun and you blink and then there's just something there for a while, but it just came out of the blue. And my parents, luckily for me, were quite worried about this. They took me straight to A&E, and what followed was a sort of week of being referred from one hospital to another, until eventually I was referred up to the Royal London and had a general anaesthetic, which confirmed I had quite a large tumour in my right eye. So obviously this was a very worrying time for my family and kind of me, because I was old enough to understand what was going on. Although I think I took it all in my stride, as I think probably most 8-year-olds would. But because the tumour was so large, the doctors recommended to remove my eye. So that was actually the only treatment I had for retinoblastoma. My right eye was removed and I now have an artificial eye. But thankfully the tumour hadn't spread any further, later analysis revealed, so I didn't need any chemotherapy. So I remember having the surgery and then later having my first proper prosthesis fitted. But apart from that, it hasn't really affected my life. I mean, of course it's shaped me, because how can it not? It's quite a big change. But I think the hardest part was probably for my family. I think for me it was just boredom of being off school, to be honest, and not seeing my friends. But for my family, of course, I'm sure it was a very worrying time. I've talked to my parents since, and of course they were worried. They were worried if it would affect my life, if I would be bullied, if I would be teased, if I'd be able to just do normal activities like everyone else would. And I think thankfully we realised pretty quickly, once I'd gone back to school and I was so keen to start all my activities like swimming and gymnastics, that everything kind of is normal. Of course there are ways it affects you in class, like where you sit, and of course I miss things on my right side and have a few depth perception issues, but I drive a car. I've hiked up mountains, which I find quite difficult, but I literally can't think of something that I wouldn't do that's one of my peers who hasn't had retinoblastoma would do without a second thought. So I think really it hasn't affected me, but part of that has been through the help of CHECT, because CHECT I started getting involved with probably at quite a crucial time when I just became a teenager and some feelings of sort of self-doubt was starting to creep in, and CHECT organised these amazing teenage events, and I met other teenagers of all ages from 13 up to 20 even, and it was just so amazing to meet people that were like me and you didn't have to explain anything to. We didn't even talk about it, but it just, to see these people, and they were doing amazing things and they were all affected by RB in a different way, and it just really opened my eyes up to the sort of the amazing achievements of other people with RB and of the sense of community and support that CHECT can facilitate. And to me, I think that's just one of the most important things for me growing up with RB, has been that support network of essentially family for me, and that's been really amazing. I think to any other young people out there who have had RB, I think there are 3 things that I would say. I think the first thing is definitely to meet others with RB. For me, I think it's like the best thing I ever did. And there are times when I feel like I need that support and times when I feel like I don't need it, but it's great that I have these friends. It's always going to be a bonus whether you talk about RB or not with them. And I think the other thing is just not to let it stop you do anything. Of course there are going to be some times when things are going to be more difficult. For me, that's hiking. It's sometimes more difficult for me, but I love hiking, and if I hold that in my brain enough, it's not going to stop me. So sometimes things might need a little more patience, a different way around maybe, but it should never stop you doing anything you want to do. And I think the third thing is just to really be yourself, because sometimes it can be difficult with something that could potentially be a visual difference. Sometimes if your artificial eye is a bit more noticeable, sometimes more than others. or if you have less vision, it can be quite easy to lose confidence. But in reality, I found in life, you find the people around you who love you for who you are, and if you care about that more than what other people think about you, then you're going to find some amazing friends and hopefully just have the best time and be your best person.